How's it going, guys? So I'm here to start off this new series we have where all the leaders would share their personal testimonies. Now, not every video is going to be as edited as this one. It's mostly supposed to be this quick snapshot of how we learn to do quiet time when we read a passage. Is there a sin to avoid? Is there a promise to keep? And what does God command us to obey? And in the link below, we're going to put this link where all the parables are listed, and we'll do them in chronological order, one by one. And today I will be starting off. I will be going from Matthew 7 verse 1 to 5, and the parable is the parable of the speck and the log. And this is the verse. Matthew 7, 1 through 5. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be judged to measure you. Who do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take a speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck of your brother's eye. Now let's follow me in the trail as we break this down. There was this one time I had this layover to Korea. I was on my way to go to the Philippines, and I was going to find this Starbucks while I waited for my next flight. And in this Starbucks, there was this old lady. She was probably 4 foot tall, very Korean looking. She had a hunchback, and I was worried that she didn't understand my order. So I said very loud, "Excuse me, do you take dollar?" And she looked at me in this weird way. And I said again, I said, "Excuse me, do you take dollar?" Let me climb this up. And she looked at me and she said, in perfect English, yeah, of course we take dollar." And I was embarrassed, because here am I talking to her thinking she would not understand me, when really she has really good English, and I probably just insulted her. Now, the parable that we're talking about is when Jesus is talking about two people. One guy is saying, you have a speck of dust in your eye, meaning he cannot see clearly, when in reality he has a log in his eye. More climb. And so what could that mean? Imagine calling somebody out for something small that they did when you are the biggest accuser of it yourself. And this idea where you do not judge people, because number one, you don't know their lives. You don't know why they're bad. You don't know why they made the mistakes that they made. You have no idea. And coming from a place where you don't know them, you judge them. And that's just not right. So how can we apply that into our own lives? Number one, why is it, do you think, that we judge other people? Do you think because we're social justice warriors? Because we love what's right and hate what's wrong? No. I think there are times that we feel so down with ourselves that when we look at others, the feeling of bringing them down makes us feel better, right? Because the only way you can look down at somebody is if you're in a position of height. So how do we make ourselves feel better? We call each other out on their own problems, thinking it's going to make us feel better. But here's the problem with that biblically. Biblically, it says that we are all saved by grace, meaning the love and salvation that we get from Christ, we never earned. It was freely given to us because we could never afford it on our own. So how are creatures who are forgiven of grace going to look at other people and not show them grace, right? Like, imagine if I forgive you of a big sin you've done for me, a big sin, and yet you look at somebody else with their sin smaller than yours and you judge them for that. As we talked about last time, we are supposed to be the light of the world, meaning the light doesn't come from us. The light comes from God who is inside of us. And if we're bearers of that light, we should show some resemblance of Christ in us. And how does Christ treat the sinners? Those who are Gentiles, those who are disbelievers. He loves them. So what does it say about you when you don't show love to your fellow neighbor? By the way, before you judge me, this is the hardest trail in all of Jacksonville. So, whew.